Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. Your ghost host with the most here, Tiki.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile too.
Here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs as we recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lanterns, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's selection. Codename Kids Next Door, Operation LICORICE. Maniacal laugh. All right, guys, how we doing tonight?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm just fine. I'm just fine. Thanks for asking. So of course tonight we're talking about Kids Next Door. We're talking about Operation LICORICE. One of the main reasons we wanted to do this is because it's a Pirates of the Caribbean parody. At least that's why Dragon wanted me to see it, right, Dragon?
Mainly, yes.
All right.
And it involves candy.
And Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Mark Hamill of it all, of course. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Watching this, I'm entertained by it. To be honest with you, I've never really been the biggest Kids Next Door fan. So this is
dumb reasons.
No, honestly, looking back on it now, I'm not like it doesn't really grab me all that much, even like the episodes that we have seen of it. So I'm gonna let you guys mostly take the floor on this one. I'm especially lost on the storyline with Numba Five and Heinrich. I don't know. Is that how you pronounce it?
Heinrich.
Heinrich von Marzipan.
Yep.
Heinrich. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So we start things out at the Kids Next Door Arctic prison, and Heinrich.
Yeah.
Heinrich. Okay. Just make
Not
sure.
that hard.
Like her nickname form is Heine, so it's always like, Hind. So Heinrich.
Okay. So he wakes up from a nightmare. Ooh. That we hear a pirate voice kind of taunt him, like, "Oh, was it one where you forgot to study for a big test?"
Oh.
No, silly. It was much scarier than that. So, of course, Heinrich, voiced by the wonderful D. Bradley Baker, just doing the hilarious over the top.
Old Mac himself.
Yeah, we should probably explain Heinrich just so we take.
Yeah, please do. That'd be very helpful.
Taking it's very easy to track. Number 5 storyline is mainly it's two kind of parodies. One, you have, of course, all the pirate stuff with Stickybeard. She kind of gets involved in the candy missions. Like rarely, with that last Halloween special we did with Number 4 is like one of the rare exceptions when a candy plot line does not follow Number 5.
Okay.
Now, the other thing Number 5 is kind of famous for, and with this Heinrich character, is that she kind of goes in a lot of Indiana Jones parodies. And the idea is that Heinrich...
So I'm guessing that this Heinrich character is like kind of a parody of Indiana Jones villains then?
Yeah, remember Belloc?
Yeah, of course.
Essentially, this guy is Belloc.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense in context than now that you explain it like that. All right,
that's just the gist of it. Number 5 goes on candy, kind of Indiana Jones candy adventures, and she runs into this guy a lot. And then where we left him off here, what gives us here is that we did sort of a kind of a Midas thing with chocolate, where basically this guy, he basically found like kind of like a hot chocolate pit that basically you could like a fondue fountain almost, like a chocolate fountain. You could dip things in it, and it was like they parodied Temple of Doom with it because they did like the Kali Ma thing that was with chocolate. And essentially, where we left him off, he fell in the thing, and he kind of became like a chocolate monster. It had everything he touched turned to chocolate, and he longed to taste things that weren't chocolate anymore. Mainly, ein cheeseburger, which is why in his cell you have a picture of a cheeseburger.
Okay, I get that. All right.
Eventually,
And what's funny though is that before even though it's actually before the later seasons, like Deb had started bringing in a whole lot of continuity. It was actually one of the few overall story arcs that the series had with overarching continuity before the series itself took it on in a much bigger plot line.
I want to say this was the culmination. I want to say this is the ending of the Heinrich story, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think anything came.
There actually is one more where they actually do figure out what happened in Guatemala.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it's.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Like, was that an episode or?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Flashback.
I believe it's in season 6, and we find out something else about Heinrich.
And I assume that the Guatemala thing is like a running joke.
Yeah, well, the idea is like there's ever since Heinrich was introduced is like I can't recall the episodes. So Jacob knows this one. I got nothing on what the Guatemala situation was. My assumption was that it was just they were on an adventure together, and Number Five had to abandon him, and he felt very betrayed, or basically she kind of screwed him over in some way, and that's why he always brings up the Guatemala thing. It's kind of the idol adventure from. It's like how in Raiders, it's like they have a past history, that sort of thing. It's kind of what they're going for.
You guys, if I can spoil it right now, it seems Sticky's probably never going to watch it anyway.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've probably seen it, but I cannot remember.
Heinrich is actually Henrietta von Marzipan.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember this one. Keep going. Yeah.
What happened in Guatemala is like she was on a Henrietta von Marzipan was on a mission with Number Five. And I think it was like caramels or something, and it took like the thing they treasured most, and it was her beauty, or something along those lines. And apparently it turned her from Henrietta von Marzipan into Heinrich von Marzipan.
Good. It's a little complicated to say the least. I think that's why I haven't really thought back to it, because it gets a little strange.
Yeah.
The point is just they have past history. That's all you really need to know, Tiki. Let's not overly complicate things. But yeah, I
think he's still trying to wrap his head around that.
Yeah, he's coming back to me now. Yeah, it's a strange one. So it's just they have past history. That's all you need to know. Let's move forward. So
yes,
Heinrich. After all that Tiki, you're there, right? All right. Well, Jacob, let's just go forward with it. We're just gonna press forward here. So yes, we go to the candy bar.
Yeah, it's like Henry joined Stickybeard, enjoying rounds of sugar with his pirate mates.
Now, I love the candy bar so much. I love it whenever we do Stickybeard, because one, he's just such a ridiculously awesome design. It was just this grown man who takes candy so seriously. He literally takes candy from children, and it's great. And of course, he's voiced by America's favorite, Mark Hamill, everyone's favorite. Mark Hamill doing like an overzealous pirate.
And you can tell he has fun hamming it up for it.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Hamill loves doing opportunities where he can do characters aside from the ones that he's known for. Don't get me wrong, I mean, of course, he has a lot of fondness for the Joker as well as Luke Skywalker, but he's in a lot more shows than you'd expect. Because again, he only puts on a voice. The guy loves cartoons. He loves comics, not even just the superhero comics. He's loved the comic strips. He's a comic fan. He's the most true blue comic fan you'll ever meet, just as well as an animation fan, like the Huckleberry Hound, everything. Mark Hamill's he's just all around great. I know that's not surprising news, but just anyway. So let's see. Yes, we're at the candy bar. Candy bar essentially, it's kind of like a sugar tavern essentially. Basically, instead of even soda, it's not soda. It's not
not even the root beer prohibition they did.
I know, oh, man. I love the root beer prohibition with Jeff Bennett doing the fizz, but yeah, basically it's kind of in these giant kind of pint glasses, basically the things like Thor would throw down saying, I know that, those giant things, but they're filled to the brim with like pink sugar, and it's
like pure cane sugar.
Exactly, pure cane sugar, absolutely, and basically they're downing raw sugars essentially. And anyway, so of course we meet the Stickybeard. Basically, he's not drinking everyone under the table; he's eating everyone under the table with all this sugar. And it's like he chances, who's gonna beat me? Who's gonna beat old Stickybeard? And then enter this Peter Pan like rival, which again the other great thing you get with Number Five, in addition to the kind of the Raiders stories, you also get the kind of the Peter Pan Captain Hook kind of dynamic with her and Stickybeard, which is one of my favorite villain dynamics, by the way, man. I love the art. I love the tell me, Jacob, do you remember the asparagus one? Remember the great white asparagus?
It's like I may be a villain, but I won't let anybody eat asparagus. That's
the thing. I love it. They have camaraderie, and there'll be times where they might have they might team up. And this, of course, is an example of that. So it's kind of I love when we do this type of stuff.
the way I saw it was like he is an overall villain of the kids next door, but at least with Number 5, it's a begrudging respect.
Yes, there is that begrudging respect, and at the same time, he has an honor code, like pirates do. Like pirates have an honor code. It's always cool when you have a character with an honor code of some kind, or there is a line making sure people aren't subjected to things that do not include candy in a way. So
because even he's like willing to join in the fight against the kids next door, like Operation Zero, for example.
Exactly. So Stickybeard's just he's a wonderful character for all the reasons we've listed and more. We're not listening, but getting to the main plot at hand. So enter Number 5, wonderfully voiced by Cree Summer. Number 5 enters Stickybeard. They kind of fire into their usual stick. Lass, you shouldn't have walked in here. I love they draw their candy cane swords. And I love, again, visually we communicate the history here. And just kind of Number 5 is not afraid of Stickybeard one iota. Basically, she walks in, she owns the scene. Like she breaks off a piece of the peppermint swords, if you will.
Not exactly the most threatening kind of weapon.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, again, ordinarily in this absurd world, we would cower in fear of these objects. But Number 5, she's been around the bend. She's not afraid of candy.
Number 5 is rarely afraid of anything.
Rarely, yes. So she wants information. She wants information because Heinrich has gone missing. I love that she assigned, because of the Guatemala thing, because of just all the history she has with kind of her Raiders-esque foe. Heinrich is always Abigail Lincoln's responsibility, and that's very interesting. So anyway, and also here we get some implied history with I want to say it's the first time we got it. Again, I can't remember all the details of the Guatemala thing. Was Stickybeard involved in the Guatemala story, or was that just Number 5 and Heinrich?
I don't think he was involved with that at all. I think it was just between Heinrich and Number 5. Yeah, sure, that tracks. Just wanted to make sure. But basically, this is the first time then when we get the implied history that we see later on visually shown to us. But the implied history, again, it's kind of a cool mystery aspect where the Heinrich was Stickybeard's cabin boy. He knows Heinrich, and I thought that was really interesting. Again, it's adding more layers to Heinrich. As far as I know, that's the only time it's ever mentioned, too. Yeah. And it tracks, just given the kind of the history we see with Stickybeard. You always start as a cabin boy, then you work your way up to pirate. So, let's see. Stickybeard, he assumes Heinrich went after the Marshmallow Mayans again. That's the Marshmallow Mayans again. It sounds like just the kiddie version of Indiana Jones, and it sounds cool. It's like Willy Wonka meets Indiana Jones. All of these adventures, it really does. Especially the ice cream one. Oh God, yes. Anyway, that's like probably the most Indiana Jones it ever got. Right. So let's see. So they mention. So basically, things change. The tone changes when Number 5 mentions the black licorice pirates, which startles Stickybeard. So she wants information and she wants Stickybeard's help, unless he's sugar-free. Ooh! Again, I love all the pirates going, ooh, because that's essentially, not only are you just calling someone sugar-free, when you say sugar-free, that instigates a challenge. Again, it's like Old West with the rules here. Again, it's like that pirate code, and it's like the Old West. It's just kind of a fun kind of like little terminology we're kind of building here.
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, sorry, guys. Hope you've been going through without me. My internet cut out.
We have. Did you hear anything we said about Heinrich?
I pretty much got the gist of it with Heinrich, yes. I cut out right as that was coming to a close, so don't worry about that. I got it.
All right, because I wasn't going to go through it again on air.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to go through it again. It's fine.
Okay, we're at the sugar-free bit, Tiki.
Yes, the whole the whole Marty McFly chicken gag of it all.
And then the surprisingly cut long song.
I love the song. The song might be my favorite part of the whole episode.
1 second. We'll get to the song real quick. Just again, we have the sugar-free challenge. Essentially, they have to down sugar against each other.
When I first saw the episode, I thought it was root beer. And then, once it got to the, once it got to the challenges later on and they're downing, literal packs of sugar, I'm like, oh, man.
The funny thing, while you were gone, we actually mentioned in an early episode where there actually was a root beer prohibition.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So again, I love this. Again, the Sugar Pirates code of all that, where basically they have to get into a drinking contest of sugar. Like Number 5 eats them under the table easily. Which, by the way, is another Deep Cuts Raiders reference. It's Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood.
Oh yeah.
How we set that up. She could drink everyone under the table, of course, when she went up against Belloc.
Right. Yeah, very much makes sense.
Yeah. So then she beats him on speed alone, and basically she was just like, before as he like downs it, like, okay, sure, tip the thing over. She's like licking her fingers, like, oh, it's hilarious. And anyway, she gets information in the form of a pirate shanty.
I mean, how other way are they going to get information from pirates, Dragon? You underestimate the musical talents of pirates.
I'm thinking you don't have the image anymore, do you?
Oh no, hold on. Let me go through the shanty, and I'll go find it. I'll go pull it up.
All right, let's see. So we have a jaunty pirate.
There was a reason they were included in Assassin's Creed 4. I mean, the shanties, I mean.
Wait, this particular shanty was originally...
No, the shanties, it's just shanties themselves.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm not really I don't really have the lyrics in front of me, but I do have just the gist. I know what the story is. So the story is this. Black John, a pirate...
Just one thing to say about the actual song itself is, like, I love how the song keeps going into the chorus. Like, it keeps building to the black licorice, black licorice. It very much has like a yo-ho vibe to it with the repeating of black licorice. You know what I mean?
Of course, another reason we've picked this one out of all the Halloween specials, of course, is because it kind of fits in our pirate theme that we've been starting since Garfield this season.
Oh, that's true. We do have kind of a little bit of a pirate theme going on.
That was the other reason I really suggested this one thing, because of the Garfield pirate thing.
Quote Scott Pilgrim. Quote Scott Pilgrim. Pirates are in this year.
So, but yeah, seriously, the chorus saying the whole licorice, red and sweet. It's really a good kind of melody on that. Well, good kind of. It's good, kind of melodically pleasing.
It's got a good build to it. It's a very well constructed song. Kind of reminds me of a Decemberist song or something.
Right. So here's the story, folks. So Black John, pirate named Black John, stole candy even from his mom. This guy was the baddest. This guy was taking candy from a baby, but not your mom, man.
I know, right? That's just a line too far.
Yeah, so Black John is the most rotten pirate ever. He's the most greedy candy pirate ever. He stumbled on an island north of North Dakota, which is hilarious. And again, you saw at the end like how these ships. You saw even last year. You saw the ships travel on land, which makes that hilarious. Mm-hmm. So, they found this island with giant, huge bamboo stalks of licorice shooting out from it. A bamboo forest of red licorice, essentially, on an island. So Black John, the idea is Black John cut it all down, not just some of it. He cut it all down.
Every last stalk.
He was the greedy of the greediest in that regard, which instituted a curse. Because again, it's kind of like, it's basically what if the truffle trees came with.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I did kind of get a truffle vibe from this.
Yeah, it's very much what if it came with a curse.
I am the Lorax, and I speak for the licorice.
You know, if Dr. Seuss was like a candy aficionado, maybe.
I'd like to think that Dr. Seuss never did a book about candy.
As far as we have marketed just more Dr. Seuss stuff, on candy, like basically kind of themed candy of Dr. Seuss.
Right. That'd be a good idea. Anyways,
I'm surprised
there might be some Dr. Seuss candy at Universal Studios.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be surprised they didn't have anything.
I'll take a look for you, Dragon, when I'm down there. I'll take a look just for you, buddy.
Good lad. Okay, so basically, here's the curse. The curse is I'm sorry. Do you guys want to walk us through any of the specifics of the curse, or should I just keep going?
I mean, I kind of like my notes on this are not very good. So basically, to make it simple, like essentially, then it's very much a Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl type situation. Yeah. Where they take all the licorice, but then all the licorice turns to dreaded black licorice.
Licorice. And go on.
And so essentially, their bones also turn to black licorice, and so that's when it really when it really turns into like a Pirates of the Caribbean type situation, where it's like you basically have these like giant like black licorice pirates at this point. And so essentially the goal is like they need to sail back to the island.
And they need to plant the thought of it's actually kind of morbid if you think about it.
Because they are dead. That's the thing. Like they're only at night do they come alive as these licorice skeletons, but by day they're just dead bones.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, if you think about it, that's actually really, really morbid.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, Dragon, long story short of it, I believe, is that they have to go back to the island and plant the licorice seed.
Yeah, again, basically the ending of the ending of
Which Heinrich ate.
Lorax.
Which Heinrich ate.
Yes, which basically.
I was hungry. The kids get full presents of awful food.
I'm just thinking of Harold saying that now.
Oh God! But I was hungry.
Okay, just imagine like Harold with a monocle and he was all fancy. Anyway, yes. And basically, the image.
But I was hungry would turn into like one of the running jokes on this year's haunted holiday hijinks. But here we are.
I was hungry.
The funny thing is that line isn't even in the episode we were talking about. But anyways.
But yeah, basically the image you see before you, the reason they know it was Heinrich because he was Stickybeard's cabin boy, and they basically they found the licorice seed, and then of course I'll say this. Then I get a note in the episode: day turns to night relatively. It's so coincidental how night turns into day like on a dime. Because hey, well, look what we found! Nightfall. Oh my God, they're pirates.
I mean, I think that's like A, kind of like the joke, and B, definitely in the timing of it too.
Anyway, yeah, so they flee, and now they know that okay, the kid has the seed. They find him, and of course we cut to, I ate it. Oh yeah. Oh, so yes, so the panicked Heinrich is confessing that he ate it in prison.
The pirates are like kind of like coming up with like different elaborate ways to get it out of him. Like, my favorite is let's reach in his throat, kick in his stomach, bludge him, reach down his throat, and give him the worst wedgie of his life.
We have all these pirates with oversized props for random reasons.
Right.
Basically, one of them has like a giant spiky boot that kick him in the stomach. We have one with just like a giant plunger, and the other one has like just the giant kind of claw crab.
I wonder if that's a reference. I wonder if that's supposed to be a reference to Davy Jones.
Probably. And then there's that one guy he's just trying to outdo them all. Let's do all three of it and give him one of the worst wedgies he's ever had. And of course we have this.
I say we should go. Let him go home.
Oh yeah, that's great. I never actually thought of that.
I love these idiot pirates. They're so easily swayed. They feel so Monty Python, you know.
Oh yeah, totally Monty Python for sure.
Anyways, Black John knows exactly what to do. And by the way, again, look, Black John has a cool design, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I will sign off on that. Yeah, I love the.
I love like the broken Tootsie Pop hook. I love that.
I agree. Broken Tootsie Pop. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so they start burying Heinrich, which is kind of terrifying when you think about it. Like, just stop and think about this plan for a minute. Like, they're gonna bury someone alive, which is terrifying in its own right. Like, Edgar Allan Poe, the master of fear himself, had a morbid fear of being buried alive. That's a fun fact for you all tonight.
Well, plus burying him alive, they need to plant him in the soil. Is what
right, they plant him in the soil, and then they're also, like, basically what's going to happen is that, like, the watermelon is going to sprout out. Or, I'm sorry, not the watermelon.
You're thinking of the Rugrats episode, Tiki.
Yes, I am. You're right. I am thinking of the Rugrats episode. Thank you.
And what's gonna and then the licorice plant will come out of Heinrich and reverse the curse. Like, what will happen to me?
No, Dragon, you're totally right. I totally was mixing up a Rugrat episode. Spot on, my friend. Spot on.
He demonstrates. And I love that we keep the candy alive with all these candy parts. He basically demonstrates with some bubble gum what's going to happen. You know, bop.
Right.
Which itself, like I said, morbid thought. Like, this episode has a lot of occasions.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So, let me see. So then Stickybeard comes up.
Yeah.
Kind of demanding, let the boy go.
And I love the history here where we learn that Stickybeard was the cabin boy. Well, Heinrich was Stickybeard's cabin boy. Stickybeard was the cabin boy to Black John, and his original name was Sticky Fuzz.
I love that.
It's adorable.
Well, it's Stickybeard now. Oh, God.
And he sticks up for the kid. He's not leaving. No matter how stupid he may be, I'm not leaving without him.
Then basically he kind of calls, he kind of uses the Marty McFly chicken thing. He's like, are you sugar-free?
Ooh!
And like Dragon and I were like mentioned earlier, he may be a villain of the kids next door and kids in general, but he still stands by Candy and kids no matter what.
No man has ever outsugared Black Jaw Licorice.
Yeah. Then we reveal that Stickybeard isn't up for the challenge, and I love that
Stickybeard's Lord of the Rings: Return of the King reveal. Like, no man can defeat me. I am no man. Just for any of the Lord of the Rings fans out there.
Yeah, this is it's nice kind of humbleness on Stickybeard. Stickybeard's being smart enough to realize, okay, I'm not gonna try to drink.
I really like how Stickybeard is like the protagonist of this episode to a certain extent.
Again, that's the reason you gotta watch Kids Next Door. Watch the Stickybeard episodes, if anything. I mean, there are a lot of good ones, but Stickybeard's always fun.
I mean, it's Mark Hamill. You can't really go wrong with Mark Hamill.
Then number 5 enters, and I love. She has like this cool kind of tough guy entrance here. She walks in like again, everyone's laughing like, this little girl's gonna fight your battle for you, and then basically she walks up and like breaks off his black licorice rib. I don't know what everyone's.
Cadillacs black licorice.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
I just want to for the record, all three of us hate black licorice, right?
Yeah.
Jacob,
I've never really had black licorice. I think I'm not a fan of regular licorice to begin with.
I'm kind of in that boat too, but black.
I'm not a huge fan of red licorice. I'll have it when it's there. You know, if it's like if I look in my candy cupboard and there's like nothing else besides licorice, I'll be like, all right, I guess I'm eating licorice. But
what exactly does black licorice taste like?
What?
What exactly does black licorice taste like?
I don't know.
I want to say it's kind of like a boysenberry. I want to say it's like a boysenberry type thing. It's like
boysenberries are delicious. Don't you dare just.
All right. I'm just trying to speculate what the black and the black licorice is. All right. Do you have any ideas, Mister?
And I'm saying just because something tastes like another fruit doesn't, and if the fruit itself is delicious, doesn't mean the flavoring is.
The best way I can describe the black licorice taste is like it's got this really nasty aftertaste to it, and it goes up your nose. And you can like smell it as you're tasting it. It's like sickly sweet.
Yeah, it's like you were basically you thought you were having like a blueberry or boysenberry for a moment, but then you realize, oh no, it's like you taste. It's like, oh man, this was a mistake, and you're kind of stuck with it for the whole day. It's like
right, because it's got the grossest aftertaste out of any candy, and I think that's what makes it infamous.
It's got that little sting. It's got that sting that's in the roof of your mouth. Oh god, it's there. It's like this is such a mistake.
Like oh god, I want to rinse my mouth out with soap.
But it's not gonna come out. Someone give me other sugar stat.
And Jacob, we're not exaggerating when we say that one bite of black licorice will do that to your mouth. One bite.
I don't really like regular licorice to begin with, so I probably don't have to worry about it.
All right, so I'm sorry. I figured this would be a time to go through a little Halloween candy rant.
I forget to mention that if number 5 actually did eat the black licorice from Black John, she pretty much committed cannibalism.
She would have technically, yeah. That's probably why. I think that's why they stopped her from eating it. They probably considered that. It's like let's ever take a bite of it, dude. And they probably realized, oh god, it's a bone, so they can't.
Oh god. Okay. So we get a repeat of the previous root beer gag where like Black John is all cocky, but then he turns around and number 5 already has hers done. Wait, I said root beer. I mean the sugar drinking.
Then we have the twist that it's such an unfair challenge, by the way, the fact that now he reveals that it's to the death of your blood sugar levels.
Yeah, you're right. That is very unfair because I mean the dude kind of technically already dead.
That's the thing. It's like there's no way she can win this. But of course, we're going to see it's all part of the plan.
Well, technically, that's what they planned that.
I know. I'm just. It's even on its face, though. It's an unfair challenge.
Right, so
technically, he's dead, and he's basically made of sugar.
Exactly.
All right, so we see them like downing like sacks of sugar. The competition's getting more and more intense. Then we have it down to number 5 is like really wired. I love the animation on wired number 5, like the tie-dye eyes and everything like that.
Yeah, but she's one cup away from like seeing pink elephants,
Yeah. I mean, we rarely even see her eyes to begin with, and when we see it here, I mean, like that's basically you can basically say this is the G-rated equivalent of someone on crack.
I would say that, yes, I would say that.
I don't know if I go that way with, but I see what you're saying. Though. I absolutely see.
Well, I mean, it's already a substitute. It's already a substitute for alcohol.
So John's holding it together quite well, though. Of course, as we already established, because the competition's completely unfair.
Meanwhile, with Heinrich,
yes, a seed is growing out of Heinrich, and it starts to kind of grow uncontrollably. Like, doesn't the licorice start to grow like at his nose and stuff?
At his
like
nose,
that?
his ears, and like it's like one step away from going out of his mouth. It's like, oh god, it's horrifying.
I mean, that reminds me of this story about this guy who discovered broccoli growing in his lung.
Oh god! Oh.
Wait, growing in what?
Lung. There's like,
oh god!
I mean, look it up. There's seriously a guy who had broccoli growing in his lung.
Oh my god, that's disgusting!
Jesus!
Oh god!
I mean, talking about that. Screw the Kids Next Door episode.
Oh god, that's oh god.
Sorry to bring that up.
Jeez. Anyway, man, that's horrible.
Sorry to bring that up.
God,
especially considering it's vegetables, not candy.
Yeah, I mean that's just offensive on various levels.
Right. Okay. Anyways.
So
I love this moment when John is basically like, he's kind of he's trying to be a little bit condescending towards Number Five. He's like, oh, it's your time, girlie. And then I love how Number Five, like, she gives like this little like rant about being called girly, I assume, but it's like completely indistinguishable. It's like, she's giving him a little bit of sass, but it's just like,
again, she's had one too many.
Yeah, I mean, Number Five is always all about the sass and all that.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, with this, we get more Number Five sass, but it's just like in a completely like marble-moused, incomprehensible fashion.
Like I said, it's basically cracked out in an alcohol or crack.
Sure. So anyway, so at Number Five, she can't finish her next round. And meanwhile, basically because of the seeds starting to grow, the pirates are returning back to normal. The curse seems to be lifted until it's revealed that Number Five, I wasn't trying to beat you. I was just stolen. And then we reveal that Stickybeard, essentially, I don't know if you remember this, these guys were Stickybeard's henchmen. These are Stickybeard's crewmen. They basically they pull kind of a they kick the football.
It is quite frankly one of their few moments of competence.
Yeah. Basically they kind of do a football kick on Heimlich's head and they kind of give him the Heimlich they do basically, it's for on Heinrich, but they pull a Heimlich maneuver, essentially.
They give Heinrich the Heimlich.
Look at me, I'm a cute little bumblebee.
Oh, God.
Baby wants pie! Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway. So, yes, they Heimlich the seed out, which means Black John is screwed, especially as the sun rises and defeats him. And we have this really cool image of Black John just kind of his pathetic torso.
By the way, this also kind of echoes how Barbossa was defeated in Curse of the Black Pearl, where Jack basically tricks him into thinking he's won, but then the sun comes out and he realizes he's mortal and he dies just because of his mortality.
And I love as this is happening, we see this great, again, such a great civil, pleasant gag here, where basically Stickybeard is toasting, basically is toasting another round with Number Five for a victory, and of course not realizing that she's had far too many, and then she's gonna passes out. Well, again, while in the background, Black John's like disintegrating.
So if you can pardon the pun, it is a sweet gesture.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay, anyway, so then we have a nice little moment with...
I love again, Dragon, I love the image of the pirate ship going across the suburb. That's a lot of fun.
So, Heimlich and Abigail have a nice little moment here, a little moment of thanks here, where, Heimlich kind of sheepishly thanks Number Five, and then she's asking...
This even makes up for Guatemala? Not even close! Not a chance!
Not even close!
Number Five was just kidding.
Then we reveal that
2,000 times.
of course, ultimately reveal that Heinrich is going back to his cell at the kids
Heinrich.
next
Which
door.
makes sense since he was broken out of jail to begin with. So
That's true.
And that was the episode in a nutshell, folks. All right, final thoughts, guys.
And then it turns out the pirates are coming for him again.
All right, final thoughts?
I liked it.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, we pretty much said our piece throughout how much we enjoyed the episode throughout this.
Yeah, I'm probably the one who's leaning the least heavily into this one. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy all the Pirates of the Caribbean type stuff, Dragon. That was definitely the parts of the episode I enjoyed the most. Again, maybe it's just because I'm not all that familiar with Kids Next Door, so some of the stuff... now that you guys have explained the Heinrich character to me, I'm sure I'll probably like this episode a little bit better in context. We're basically just thinking of Numba Five as his, Heinrich is Numba Five's Bullock. So,
Belloc.
Yeah, not Bullock.
That would be a rather different movie, though.
But Abigail, it's lunch!
What a bollocks.
All right.
What a bollocks.
Any final thoughts on your end, Dragon?
Again, I got a soft spot for this episode. Honestly, this is one of my favorites with Stickybeard Number 5. This and the asparagus have some of my favorite moments between two of those that show a lot of growth between them. Basically, these two characters going on a little adventure together. In the case of this one, it's kind of like the whole. Again, as we've stated various times, it's kind of like the whole Tom and Jerry kind of working together now once in a while, but not singing or dancing or.
I always have to clarify that, but not the movie.
As much as we love Richard Kind, no, not that version. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those it's one of those neat gems of an episode. And again, honestly, of all the pirate stuff, it's kind of it's a fun premise. It's inventive, and it's kind of it's I don't know, it's really clever. It's really rewatchable for me, I guess. It's fun.
All right, folks. Well, we're getting a little bit towards the end here. We've got oh God, I don't want to say a definitive number, but we've got a few. We've got a few left, just a few. So, so next time we are going to be talking about another Nickelodeon special. And folks, I'm not even going to say.
What do you mean another Nickelodeon? Or because this one is not a Nickelodeon.
Well, no, we had talked about different Nickelodeon.
Well, I mean, previously we've done we did Doug and we did Hey Arnold, so
yeah. Another in the line of Nickelodeon specials.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
All right,
it's all good. It's all good. So, so we're going to be talking about a very short and sweet Nickelodeon episode. It's not a Halloween episode, but it is a very creepy episode. I think this episode is kind of a perfect mix of it's got some genuinely effective scares in there. But mostly it's just totally just awesome comedy all the way through. And it's got a killer ending that we'll talk about. It's got a great ending. So, all right. So I guess, folks, with that in mind, our spirits grow weary. But don't worry. They'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. You believe in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.